Yeah, now I don't even see the
I just
scheduled live stream.
I just restarted it, so it's going to a different link now.
Oh, okay. And this is how we learn.
Yes,
Do
it's
we want to
weird because
title the recording?
wait. What's this? Oh, I think we're on to something.
What?
Okay. I think we're good. I think we're live.
Are we live? Are we
We're
finally
live.
live?
It looks like there's a little bit of a delay.
Okay. I see the live ring on on YouTube.
Okay, I'm gonna turn my volume down. Okay, we're live.
Hey,
Good morning.
as
Good
expected.
morning. We're having some we're working out some kinks, but it seems like it's finally moving along. Now I need to try and figure out which screen I should be on. How are you doing over there, Mike?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great, actually. It's earlier here in good old Phoenix, 7:30 in the morning. I had planned to come in with a cup of coffee and everything, but like as I told you, I was shorter on time getting into the live recording than I had anticipated, so no coffee.
No coffee. Not at all yet today?
No, but I have a bad habit of still taking my caffeine pills even when I don't do pre-workout because of all the additives and all this stuff. So I just take caffeine pills, just straight,
Mm.
200 milligrams of caffeine per pill. And usually I'll take like 600 milligrams in the morning before a training session. But even if I'm not training, I still have to take like one or I get like a massive headache, because my body's fully addicted to the caffeine. So,
So I definitely have a caffeine addiction. I'm
yeah.
not proud of it, but I have it. I you know I drink coffee first thing in the morning, and the last time I like had those reactions was it was like a year ago, and it was either I can't remember if I had the flu or COVID.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure the fact that I didn't have coffee with it made it like 10 times worse. I think like
Absolutely.
half of it was the fact that I didn't have caffeine. So I don't know exactly how sick I was. I mean, I couldn't keep anything down. But but
Sounds
yeah,
like you were sick.
I was sick, but it was like the worst sickness ever, and I think it's because the caffeine addiction put me over the edge.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I say I'm gonna come, taper off the caffeine a little bit, or you hear those people who are like, I've gone, fully off of caffeine. I feel great. I'm like, I want to experience that. And then the first headache comes. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I need to experience that.
I don't know. I do kind of want to. I want to talk to an expert on the subject, but I also feel like no one really knows. Because I've seen things where it's like, oh, caffeine does this for you, does that for you. So I'm just not quite sure.
Yeah, the cognitive benefits of it and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
hear you.
All right. Let's see. We do have some people here. Let's see. We've got Joey. We have
Good old
Chip.
Joey.
Mark
Nice.
Eddington. Good morning, Mark. Bill Church. I think he's telling you to do some push-ups to wake up. Um,
All right,
so,
Bill.
so let's. This is episode number 1 of Knurled News Live. So, uh, I'm here with Mike, co-host, aka Nice Like Mike, and our plan is to turn this newsletter that thousands of you have seen on a weekly basis into a live podcast. And it's a live podcast that I've wanted to do for quite some time. It's just difficult because if you're gonna do something like this, it has to be basically every week at the same time. So we are going to try and do this every single Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Until maybe our schedules change, but we're gonna really try and nail down a time every single week. We are, like I said, we're looking to turn this newsletter into a live podcast. So we'll be talking about new products. We will be talking about cool stuff we see online, any industry news. We also want to get live guests. So, in a perfect world, I think we align that with like new products. So if a company has a new product, we want to have them on to, talk about what they just released, catch up on anything else new. It doesn't have to be that. I think live guests would be awesome as well. Let's see, what else do I have here? That's pretty much it. I think we both have a good rapport, and we can chit chat for a while if need be. We have common interests, and we're just going to kind of evolve this over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. Where's Kyle? I don't know where Kyle is. He's probably at work. I finally figured out how to see the chat. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. We're going to do our best to keep it consistent. I think, like you said, Jake, the rapport is good. I'm excited to talk more like equipment focus. Obviously I do the Do You Even Lift Bro podcast with Kyle. We keep it, I think it's more fun, casual, but I like to go nerdy on the equipment stuff. So I'm excited to touch on new stuff, give my unbiased opinion on products I've never seen, touched, maybe sometimes even heard of. So we can dive into it.
Right. And one thing I should know, we're both going to continue doing our podcasts. Mine with Adam, yours with Kyle. Kind of same is. I think one thing that with my podcast with Adam is we had pretty much these like new products each week, but there were so many other things that we kind of like just brushed over it. So I do think a little bit more focus on new products. And again, taking it to the next level, hopefully we can get some people to chime in with their thoughts as well, as opposed to like a pre-recorded episode where it's just two people chit-chatting about maybe products that just came to market they may not have ever seen. So
Yeah. Speaking of Adam, I just want to send my condolences because the Vikings got trounced yesterday.
trounced.
I was rooting, even though I'm from Southern California originally. I am not a Rams fan. I am not a Raiders fan. I'm a home team guy, and the Rams and the Raiders never really proved to be a home team. They were fair weather teams. They came and went as the fandom did. And so I am not a Rams fan, and I was rooting for the Vikings last night. And sorry, Adam, my heart goes out to you, buddy.
Even with the wildfires in LA.
That doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm worried about my family. Speaking of the wildfires in Los Angeles, both of my sisters were forced to evacuate. They're back home now, but it's scary times there right now.
Scary.
It's hitting way too close to home. Growing up in Southern California, wildfires were an annual thing, but this time it's like, holy cow, what's going on? It's like Maui all over again. Anyway, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, tough times.
Tough
All
times
right.
in LA.
Let's see. Okay, we got NW Pig in here.
Let's go. I was just listening to his podcast on my way over here back home this morning.
Yeah, good
The
stuff over there.
takeover, the hostile takeover. Yeah,
Hostile
great stuff
takeover.
over there. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me pull up this document of new products.
Let's do it.
Actually, yeah, we have a topic before new products as well. That's kind of interesting.
Okay.
Share my screen. All right. And it looks like I'm going to try and figure out how long this lag is from us to YouTube. It looks like it's a good like 30 seconds or so. So just FYI.
Got it.
All right, so Knurled News presentation number 1. So we're going to discuss some equipment brands closing shop. So a lot of people in the comments section and just in general home gym chatter have talked about like the economy and how there were a lot of companies that came up during the COVID boom, and a lot of them don't see them continuing. So we have a few specific examples of companies closing down shops. We have some new products from Bells of Steel, Eclipse, Tonal, Rep, and then we'll see what else we decide to chat about.
Sounds great.
Feel free to throw in any thoughts in the comments, and we'll do our best to reply to them.
Yeah.
All right, so businesses closing. Hopefully this loads. This is not like a podcast where you can edit. So let me see. Go back to this.
Yeah, this one, when I was previewing the doc, always took a second to load.
It did. All right, here we go. Let me see if I can hit present again. All right, so businesses for sale. So we've got Zubel's, who has pretty much posted so first of all, Zubel's is an American-made. They're making unique faced animals, reptile type kettlebells. They've been around since 2014, and they have their business for sale. They are saying they're looking for $30,000, and if you were to start this today with whatever they're giving you, it would cost $80,000 to $100,000. So that's one. Number 2, HGG Performance. So after 4.5 years of running HGG Performance, that's COVID timeline, they're also shutting down. I think they did a lot of like tib bar type stuff.
Okay.
Unique products like that. They were kind of in that world. I don't want to rag on them, but if you do go through like the comments on that post, there's quite a bit of people who are like, hey, I ordered in August. I'm wondering if I'm going to get my money back. So it seems like there's some people waiting on products that they probably won't ever get. And then the last one is, so I was actually reaching out to potential home gym con vendors, and Brute Force Training replied back and say, hey, we're actually closing down our shop.
Bummer.
And they left a pretty heartfelt message here that I'll play here.
What's up, everyone?
Can you hear that?
All right. As you can probably tell from the title of this video, it's not one I ever wanted to make or hoped that we would need to or want to make. Unfortunately, we've got to close. When we moved here a couple of years ago to try to make this company flow, we're in a hole, and we've been trying to climb out of a hole for the last 2 years, and it just hasn't worked. We've tried to do everything. We've tried to launch the app. We've tried to get really high quality supplements. We launched new gear, all the things, and unfortunately, none of it worked. And everyone really wants American-made gear in an American-made company, but the unfortunate facts, friends, is that it's almost virtually fucking impossible for a small business to be American-made and sustain itself with the cost of production, with the cost of goods, with the cost of paying our sewers a fair and equal wage, all the things. We just haven't been able to do it, and there are no more funds to put into this thing. So Brute Force hasn't been profitable in a while, and we just can't sustain it any longer. It's a very unfortunate situation, but with that being said, this page is still going to stay live. It's not going to go away. So if you're on Facebook, the same thing as well. If you're on the Brute Force WOD app, that's going to stay live as well. So I encourage you guys to keep posting here, keep motivating each other. I'll be on here continuing to put in and drop some movements and things like that. But yeah, it's so here's the deal. We're selling through. We've got a sale going on right now through the end of the year. The goal is to try to sell more gear so that we can actually pay our staff without our.
You get the point. You know, it kind of reminds me of all of this. Kind of reminds me about the Kabuki interview I did with Rich. You know, it's especially the brute force where they mention how difficult it is to, you know, actually create something within America, and like especially if you have like overhead and staff and trying to keep it rolling like that. So pretty unfortunate. Would also be curious to hear about what anybody else has to say, if you have thoughts on this, or you, Mr. Michael.
I'd muted myself because my family's waking up and they like to play music in the morning. So I had to text my wife. I'm like, "Hey, I'm on the live show. Can you turn the music down a little bit out there?" No, I think so. What I was gonna say is, I have such huge admiration for any small business owner who has like the balls basically to just go for it and kind of, figure it out as they go and learn from the lessons. And I think the other thing too is, when I do read books or interviews with, wildly successful business owners today, most of them have those stories about their, 10 to 15 other failed businesses before the one finally popped off and worked for them. So I say that as like, like I said, in admiration, but also a bit of encouragement. But it's, as Joey's saying, he doesn't know these companies, me either. I don't know that I know these companies either, but it is a bummer to see them close up shop. And it is, to speak on like how difficult it is to be, American made company. It's true. Like, capitalism is great, but it's also challenging. Everybody wants to get rich nowadays, and every worker wants the best wage they can. And especially, I think, if you're not offering something that's like super unique, especially in the home gym space, it's going to be challenging. I think that if you're just offering the basic stuff, kettlebells, benches, racks, it's going to be really difficult to compete with the companies that are already there unless you have a product that somebody can't get elsewhere. I think that even like Darko, I bring him up all the time, but he's made in USA. He's found great success, but he also has products that nobody else is really making. So, or at least not too many other people are making.
Right. And I mean, I don't think anybody is making anything quite like Zubel's, but
Super niche.
It's super niche. It's not.
Yeah.
I've owned those types of kettlebells, and I've had those types of kettlebells sitting next to regular kettlebells, and I'll grab the regular kettlebell every single time.
Why?
Oh, because it's much more comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just more what's the word I'm looking for? Practical. It's
Okay.
Just, I mean, if you're doing anything advanced with a kettlebell like that, you have to be careful because you can like brush you and
Right.
poke you. And they're also way more expensive. Like,
I do know that.
yeah.
I do know that, like, tons more expensive.
Yeah, and then but like the brute force training, like they had a strong brand, like a strong made in America brand.
Did they have anything unique?
No, not really.
Okay.
And so I also think about it like if you watch the whole video, he says the owner kept pouring money into it. So it wasn't like, I don't think it was like, and I'm just guessing, I don't think it was like a one-man shop bootstrapping it himself and running it all. It was like someone paying salaries, and I totally understand. Like, I'm sure the employees were passionate, but when you actually have something on the line, I think that is what drives a lot of people. And I think that's why a lot of some of the the smaller Main America companies that we've seen, like at Home Gym Con, it's like just them for the most
Yeah.
part. They're bootstrapping it. Maybe they're doing some other jobs, or yeah. I mean, I have also heard stories where they had to pretty much let everybody go, and they just have to run it themselves until they can find success. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think even it reminds me. You speak of Home Gym Con and these smaller, operations. I think it's another good opportunity to call out Mike over at Microgains, right? Made in America, small company, but he's also got a product that is super unique, and it's really if you want fractional additions for your dumbbells, it's kind of like Microgains is the place to go. I mean, I know there's some other ones out there depending on the type of dumbbells that you have, but it seems like that might be the differentiator, right? Are the SKUs that you're offering, are they super unique, and you're one of maybe a handful of places that offer them. So it's a bummer. It's a bummer to see these businesses be forced to shut their doors, I guess.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have to have we'll have to have someone on this podcast come and also just discuss current times. So if any of you are listening to this right now, feel free to let us know. We'd love to have you.
Let's see. RF says our audio levels are off. Jake is too low. I did have to turn my volume up a bit to hear you well, but I'm assuming that means that my audio level is okay.
Yeah, if you'd noticed last time I went to my mic, I tried to start talking
Yeah,
a
I
little
did.
bit louder
I
and a little
did.
closer.
Yeah.
So I saw that. All right. Well, let us know what you think there in the comments, and we'll move on to, let's see, some new products. So this is pretty similar fashion to how Adam and I did it. But the first new product that I think we highlighted on Knurled News newsletter last week is the Omni bar from Bells of Steel. So this is basically an upgraded version of the Arch Nemesis bar. This is in collaboration with a YouTuber named Bald Omni Man. I clicked on it. I can't remember exactly what he did, but he had like 75,000 YouTube subscribers. So it's in collaboration with them. Includes the 3 neutral grip handles, an aggressive knurling, which I think is different than the Arch Nemesis bar. It can also be used as a cable attachment, durable black sand powder coat, and laser cut end caps. So, basically just an upgraded version of the Arch Nemesis bar, which I thought was a pretty good value bar to begin with.
Yeah, I've never tried the Arch Nemesis, but I'm familiar with it. I know that a lot of the early, feedback was that it's super light, right? So, which I guess is optimal for the cable attachment application, but loading plates on it, I guess, could be a little difficult. If you put a 45-pound on one side, you're gonna tip the whole bar. But so is this an upgraded version or just like an alternate? Because this has just like straight neutral grip, whereas the Arch Nemesis, aren't they angled a little bit? So it's like more like the Cadillac was. Like, I feel like the Arch Nemesis was like a ripoff of the Cadillac, or a dupe of the Cadillac at a much better value. But this, maybe I'm just seeing it at the angle, but this looks like it's just straight handles. Am I wrong there?
I think that they're slightly angled.
Okay, they are. Okay. Well, if that's the
Yes.
case, then sure, an upgraded version
In,
of the Arch
in,
Nemesis.
in the product description, it mentions the Arch Nemesis bar
Okay.
it mentions an upgrade.
Got it.
I think this is priced at like $229, so it really does seem like a pretty solid option for anybody who just wants to pay around that number.
Yeah. I mean, when you compare that to, like what the Cadillac was, I think it was like, okay, these are angled handles. I'm seeing it now with different screenshots. I mean, the Cadillac bar, I had one. I don't have it anymore, but that thing was close to $600 new, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so this allows you to get a neutral grip bar in the gym at a much more competitive price point. And did you own the Arch Nemesis, or do you currently own the Arch Nemesis?
No, but I have used it in the past. It's solid. I would never use it as an attachment though.
That's what I
That
wanted to
felt awkward.
ask.
No,
Okay.
it's too wide. It's too wide.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it just, I don't know. I guess you and I are in an echo chamber of having way more equipment than is probably necessary, right? Like, so we have plenty of options, but yeah, it just seems like too wide. It's going to be clanging my uprights. I have other attachments that are going to allow me to get that neutral grip that aren't as wide as a barbell or as long as a barbell. I'd be curious to like maybe run a poll in Garage Gym Experiment. If you own the Arch Nemesis, do you use the cable attachment? I think there's a couple of other ones. Oh, the rep bar has a cable attachment option too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm curious if people actually use them for that, or is it
There,
just a gimmick?
man, there's no way. I think like maybe it's a nice like I mean all you have to do is really add on that little thing at the top. So I
Yeah,
think it's a good marketing ploy for companies because it's not too much additional work. It can't be too much more money to add that from like the back end. So but no, I mean we'll have to I mean Kyle owns one. We'll have to ask Kyle if he uses it as
yeah.
a cable. I doubt it.
And this one's welded on though, right? Yeah, this one's welded, so this one doesn't
Right.
unscrew, I think, like the rep. Um, yeah. What do we got? We've got a new comment kind of back on the last slide from, I guess that's a play on Zach or ZH4K. It's always weird to hear an American manufacturer complain about inability to produce physical products to sell in America. And it's like, duh, that's the point of neoliberalism. You don't like it, leave. That's a hot take.
What is neoliberalism?
I'm just happy that I was able to pronounce it on my first read through. So,
Um, yeah. If you could add in the what neoliberalism means, I think we could respond to it better.
yeah. And
Um,
oh, it looks like we got a few other comments too that I hadn't seen till I scrolled down. Coach Carp in the building. What's up, Coach?
live show who dis?
Mr. First Comment always.
Yeah. Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. I thought these were cool. I think this video is gonna play.
Shout out to Elliot with the Tupac instrumental in the background.
Yeah, so yeah, hopefully we don't get like
I know copyright.
anti-monetized for that
Yeah,
or
right.
copyright, yeah.
Yeah.
But those are the smile handles or
Yeah.
smile handle from Euclipse. I just came across those earlier this week.
Oh, okay.
It looks like they were released in December, but I
Yeah.
hadn't seen them. I threw them on here. I don't, and then I glanced at his Instagram. It doesn't look like he's promoted them yet on Instagram. Maybe I just missed it.
Man, I don't know. He's
But but yeah, these are cool. So they are cable attached, a single cable attachment that can be used at multiple different angles. It can be used as like a single handle tricep or kind of handle, or as just a traditional handle for like flies and stuff like that. I think this is a really cool option. Stainless steel, volcano knurling, 32 millimeter diameter handle. They're priced pretty fairly. I'm sure they're not. It's not like the most premium option ever, but pretty cool, versatile option from Euclipse. From Elliot.
Yeah, I like them. I had seen these because Elliot is the inventor founder of Euclipse. Had the privilege of meeting him at Home Gym Con 2024. Great guy. And he had messaged me with some images of these before he announced them, just wanting to kind of get my feedback on them. And I think super versatile. I like the idea of making them hammer options. I'm not sure, I didn't like ask him this, but I had created, so I invented like the CAS modification, which allows you to put your CAS handles on the belt fed straps. And when I was kind of like experimenting with that, my first iteration of those, I had done this exact same thing where I put the eye bolts on the ends because I wanted to preserve that CAS function of being both a D handle and a hammer handle. I wound up moving away from it for a couple of reasons. Aesthetically, I didn't like the look of the eye bolts on the sides. And Joey says the same. He's not a big fan of the aesthetics. The other weird thing was that it was impossible to get them to thread evenly. So you'd have like one eye bolt that was this way and then another one that was kind of turned that way. And it drove me personally crazy. And then the last thing is I just discovered that I didn't like the CAS handles for hammer movements. So I just moved away from that altogether. So I don't know if he saw one of my original posts and got inspiration from that, but the versatility here is great. I'd be curious to get my hands on them, see how they feel, see how the swivel works. I'm also unsure what material he's using for that big, like the black spacer there. Is it like rubber? Is it metal? Is it going to create any friction against the polypropylene strap? I'm not sure, but I admire Elliot and what he's doing. This is his third SKU, I think now, because he's got that cable attachment / like deadlift jack now, and then he's got these. So good on him.
Yeah, good on him. Hustling over there, and pretty
Yeah.
cool designs. All of them are like unique.
Yeah. And I'm sure he's not only just reaching out to me, I know he's reaching out to a bunch of people. So I admire the fact that he's seeking out feedback through the development process just to get people's opinion. He asked like a bunch of questions like, hey, what would be a price point that you think would be too low or too high for this? So he's trying to really serve the community well, right? Instead of just like blindly, like, I've got an idea, I'm bringing it to market and I want to charge $500 for it. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. All right. Let's see. We've got 20 people on YouTube. All right.
Let's go. First show. Thanks for being here.
Colorado short bar. We don't need to go over all of these details, but short bar from Rep. I had a short bar and I gave it to my mom actually, and I think it's a perfect type of bar that like older people can use, or anybody getting used to it. I also think it'd be cool. Like, I'm here in Indiana and it's freezing. It'd be cool to bring in like a short bar into my home and do a few things. Like just
Okay.
keep it in for like extra workouts. Or I have a 9-year-old daughter. In a couple of years, I think that would be kind of an ideal bar for her to start with.
Which short bar did you have?
What was it? Was it Strength Depot, or maybe it was maybe it was an old Rogue one.
Was it rackable?
That shows you how much I used it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it was rackable.
Okay,
It was
okay.
rackable. It just had like smaller sleeves.
Yeah. I think so. I like this. Go ahead. What you had something more
I
to
was
say?
just gonna say the only thing I really used it for was I'd grab it and I'd do like curls. That's about it.
Yes. Right. And so I have it's like one of my early, COVID purchases was I have the Titan 5-foot bar, which has like specific use cases, right? Like I think that there's certain movements, if I'm not racking, sorry if you can hear the jet passing over, I'm really close to an Air Force base. It works, like you said, for curls or for certain movements where like I have a narrow space, right? So while I can use typical length barbells right off my rack, it's still tight. And if I'm moving away from my rack onto the floor, high risk of clipping my dumbbell rack or my treadmill on the other side. So I think a short bar has great application. I've personally been wanting the Rogue Stump bar because it's a power. It's got the center knurling and everything. It's rackable, but just like this one has shorter sleeves. My Titan 5-foot bar, not rackable, right?
Yeah.
So it has its use cases, but you can't rack it. So I like this because it's giving us a more affordable rackable short bar. Like the Stump bar is I think $350 from Rogue with free shipping, I think. But I'm hoping that this one does well, and maybe they release like a short version of their Black Diamond or something like that.
Yes.
That would be sweet. I would probably jump on that.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Eclipse grips from our buddy Porter Phys Ed. So
Yeah.
these I put in partnership with F&F Steel. I don't know exactly the relationship, but I know F&F Steel is creating these with them. These are kind of what we were talking about earlier. It's just like a single, what do you call? I don't know what you call it exactly.
Hammer grip style. I mean,
Hammer grip. Yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
word. For like delt flies, hammer curls, tricep push downs. When I was talking to Matthew about this, one of the things that he said was different from all of the other ones on the market was it has just a 3-inch base, which
Right.
should be a more comfortable grip. Whereas I think he mentioned the longer ones, I don't know, I guess you would have to like really hold on to them really tight, or there'd be a little bit of movement, or I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I can see how it would throw off a lift. Were you gonna say something?
I mean, I don't think it throws it off. I think it really just comes down to like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like just having something that's a little bit more refined. I have, so kind of even talking about like the CAS handles, similar to this, like the CAS have the flanges at the ends, right? So you can kind of like, the base of your hand can kind of get some resistance against something. It didn't feel very comfortable. So I'm curious if, because Matt and I have talked about this in the DMs as well. He was showing this to me. How comfortable it is if you wanted to use it for hammer and like actually have the base of your hand rest against it, or even for hammer curls, the top of your hand hitting that point. But I've made hammer handles out of some old, like the giant lifting open trap bar, the Northland open trap bar. I had replaced the grips on that because they came with like the spinning ones originally. So I have a bunch of spare handles that I did the same thing. I turned them into hammer handles, but they were too long. It didn't feel right. You need something a little shorter. So I like what he's going for here. I think that the shorter length is perfect. I'm also a big fan of those egg grip egg weights, the attachment point that he's using, because it swivels. I have the egg weights. They're my favorite hand attachment to use for the same movements that I think that Matt Porter is hoping that these will be used for. So I like that he's collaborating with them to get their rotating cable attachment. It's very smooth, and I'm excited to try these out. I like them a lot. I think they're aesthetically, they look great. I think he's on to something here. Definitely gonna have to try these things out.
What specifically are egg weights? Because he's told me he's used egg weights too, and I have it here for a smooth swivel. But what are they originally intended for?
That's a good question. So egg weights they cater to the boxing community. So he has like a lot of like weighted grips that you can like slide a finger through, and then you have the weight in your hand. So if you're like shadow boxing, you've got some weight in your hands. But then he has it's a cable attachment, and it's shaped like it's not an egg. His original product that you use for shadow boxing does kind of look like an egg, but it's essentially like a ball, kind of like a grenade grip, with this swivel attachment on it. But they just have a really good feel in hand, and I love them. I think they just don't, a lot of people don't know about them. I try to advocate and share them with people to check them out. They're only like $50 for a pair. They come with a sweet little, I think I've got it right here, like a little mini duffel bag. Uh, I've repurposed this into an ammo bag, so there's some some shotgun shells in there. But yeah, yeah, but they're really great. You should check them out. I don't know if we can bring up a live website here, or we'll do it later. But I like them a lot. That's what egg weights are. At least they have a bunch of products, but their cable attachment is basically like a smaller grenade grip with a swivel attachment on there.
Got it. Yeah, we can bring up the website here in a bit. Cool. Okay. Next up, I think this is the last one. Tonal 2. I mean, we don't have to go into this too much, but just a basic total upgrade of Tonal. Looks like some new cool features. Like I thought one of the cool features was automatic drop set capability. So that seems cool. More resistance. I mean, it's just it looks like a totally like a nice upgrade to what they already have.
Have you used the V1 tonal?
No, I have not.
Okay.
But it's funny. There's been a few people over the last I don't know 6 months who they've like asked me what I do for a living, and I tell them, and they're like, "Oh, I have a tonal." and it's like suburban folks,
right?
And I'm like, okay, I can totally see that. So I mean, It just tells me that there's definitely a market for it.
For sure. I think especially for people who want like a gym setup, but it's probably going to be in a bedroom in their house, right, or in a room in their house, and aesthetically it doesn't look terrible just kind of like having it mounted to the wall, right? It doesn't look like a bunch of loose dumbbells on the floor and a barbell shoved in the corner. So aesthetically, I think it's great. I have not used one either. I've heard good things from the people who have used them. I think maybe a miss or something on their V3. From what I can see, it doesn't look like you can slide the arms up and down, right? They just swivel left to right and then pivot up and down. I think it'd be cool if you could slide that whole arm down to the bottom. Maybe you can, but it doesn't look like you can. I think that would add some versatility. You could more easily do mimic a bench press and stuff off of the bench. Maybe you can. Somebody, if you guys know otherwise, chime in. But I think they're obviously onto something. If they're in a place to release a V2, then that means that they have capital enough to from V1 to move into a V2. I do see them up for sale on Marketplace quite often though too. So, there it is. Okay, they do slide down. Perfect.
Yeah, slides
okay,
down.
Got it. Well, there you go. If you've used a tonal, give us your thoughts in the comments. My buddy Josh, who I had on the podcast, was saying that he likes the tonal. Hey, there's your egg weights. Yeah, jump in there real quick, and then see. Obviously, you can see it's like very boxing centric. But go into all products or shop, top left menu bar, and then all products. Keep scrolling. It might even be on page 2. Oh, there they are right there. The strong grip. You passed it. Scroll back up. Third over from the right there. Yep, right there. That's them. Yeah, I don't even like that he shows them. He includes that little attachment. I use them individually. There they are.
So
you can also
cheap.
It's for a pair. It's for a pair.
But I mean, the fact that he's using that within the product.
Oh,
that brings a lot of cost to the Eclipse grips.
Yeah, I think the Eclipse grips I looked this morning are $75 for a single.
Okay.
I think those are obviously made in the USA. I don't know about the egg weights. You can also get them in stainless steel. He's got some pictures of them there in the stainless steel, but you have to request it through message, or I think you can comment on the order, say you want them in stainless steel. But I love this attachment. It's I use it all the time for delt stuff, for curls, for sometimes face pulls, but you know, when you at the point of home gym that we are, like cable attachments, I've got a lot of them, all the different things.
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can get them to Home Gym Con. That they seem like it looks like a bigger company than I thought.
Yeah.
Because I remember clicking on their Instagram and there was like 3 followers. Maybe they just don't have an Instagram presence. Or maybe I'm looking at the wrong Instagram.
Maybe you are. I think he's bigger following than that. But yeah, get him to Home Gym Con would be sweet. I try to. Oh yeah, he's only got a little over 1,000 followers on Instagram. But again, he's marketing to the boxing community, so I don't think many people, at least in the home gym space, are thinking to go looking there for a cable attachment. I only found them because I was on the home gym subreddit, and somebody had created a post where they took like a picture of all of their cable attachments and their favorites, and the OP like said that the egg weights were like his favorite. He was, you know, gushing over them, and I don't even know who it was. I just happened to see him, and I pulled them up. They're on Amazon as well, so I thought, oh, free returns. It's worth a shot to see if I like them or not. And I immediately thought, oh, these are great. I like them a ton. So little known cable attachment out there, but highly recommended. Or go buy Porter Phys Eds.
Yeah. I do like the idea. And I know you're the same. You like going on longer walks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I walk my dog like at least an hour combined a day. And then if like he's an older dog, if he's not in the mood, or if I do take a day off, I'll do what you said. You were saying to me earlier, you like to just go for long walks. And back there, I have you can't really see it, but I have a Pro Sledge weight vest.
Okay.
It goes to like over 100 pounds. But you can add like 3 pounds at a time.
Okay.
It's not the best, like you wouldn't want to like really run in it.
Okay.
You really are able to add a ton of weight. And where was I going with it? So like quick little shout out to them. I've been able to add like 3 pounds at a time, and I've really been like adding 3 pounds here and there, and it's a good way to like add. So I'm up to like 48 pounds.
Okay.
So 12 pounds in the front, 12 pounds in the back, and then we'll go walk for like a half an hour. And by the time I'm done, dude, my shoulders are like, oh, am I back to the house yet? Because you can't take it off and like take a break. Or
right.
I mean, I guess you could, but
you don't want to carry it in hand though. You know, it's not like you're gonna like make your walk back carrying 50 pounds, you know, on your hand. You'd rather have it over your shoulders and just deal with the discomfort the rest of the way, right?
Right. So like, I do think there are ways to, I think walking is steadily getting more popular and more people are understanding the benefits of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's more ways to incrementally like add some variety.
Were you going to say like the egg weights would be a potential, like carrying their other products, like just in your palms type of thing for added weight?
Yeah. I wonder what carrying 5 pounds would be like for like an hour. Like, would that be, or I guess you could like tuck it in too. You could just like, I don't know. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want, you see those women like carrying dumbbells,
yeah,
power walking. You wouldn't want to do that. It'd want to be like something discreet.
Yeah, I think, and too, there's like, like I said, they have like a little finger sleeve, and so they're easier to carry, I think. So I could see there being an application for that versus just like you said, you either see people carrying like dumbbells or they'll have like those weighted wrist straps or weighted ankle straps or whatever. I just kind of entered the weighted vest slash like rucking, I don't know, not community, but like, I bought a weighted vest. It was like one of my Black Friday purchases. I bought the same vest that Adam got, that Rogue Echo weight vest. like Adam, I just YOLO'd it and went for the full 40 pounds, which is what maxes out at 40 pounds. And unlike Adam, though, I had done a bunch of research like going into that purchase. And while I was waiting for it to arrive, you know, that post, like, let me make sure I made the right purchase, and watched a bunch of videos on Rucking. And what I learned was that you do have to start small. Like, it's not like you're going to throw on a 40-pound weight vest after never having done any type of weighted vest walk or ruck, and your body's going to be like, oh, this is no problem. Your shoulders are going to get beat up and torn up, and it's terrible, not good for your spine. You got to give your muscles and your body time to kind of acclimate. So what I decided to do after I YOLO'd a 40-pound weight vest was I just took an old backpack and first threw like 15 pounds worth of plates in the backpack. Great. Moved up to 25. And so now I just keep like a backpack loaded with 25 pounds in the gym. Plus I've got the 40-pound weight vest. And just depending on the type of walk that I'm going to go on, I'll kind of switch between them. But the Echo vest is nice because it sits really high and it's got like a good, like, I don't know, you call it like what are those called? Like kind of like where they have like the waist straps type of thing. So you can kind of redistribute the weight a little bit so that it's not completely on your shoulders. And that's been super helpful. So now I'm like that guy in the neighborhood walking around with a weighted vest on my walks.
Yeah, it's been cold, so I put a coat on, so it looks like
Over it, yeah.
a little stuffy, like it looks a little boxy, but pretty hidden unless you're like really looking at it. But that's why the Pro Sledge is cool, because you can add like, you know, if you
Small
were a true
increments.
beginner, you could add like
Yeah.
3 pounds up here, 3 pounds there, and slowly but surely, yeah, like you said, incrementally get higher. Yeah, but 40 pounds is a lot.
It is a lot.
It really
is a lot.
is.
Yeah, I haven't actually taken that into the neighborhood. I keep that one on the treadmill so that after like a mile, I'm like, okay, this is coming off. Like let's get this on the floor and keep going.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. Eric is saying he's got a 100-pound weighted vest. Thing is an animal. Yeah, I mean, 100 pounds sounds super intense, but I know that again, from my research, there is a serious rucking community out there that for them, like 100 pounds is like lightweight, light work. They're putting, you know, like the Go Rucks, like they're rated for like 300-ish pounds or something like that. Just insanity.
Yeah. I mean, if you're like, I mean, the military does it all the time. Like, I think it's pretty normal. I'm sure they have more than 40 pounds
Yeah.
on those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. My wife and I backpacked through Thailand for like 3 weeks several years ago, and we had bought like like a backpacking packs, like the big, long, tall ones, you know. And I remember, I mean, we didn't even carry those around that much. It was just from like hotel to hotel or hostel to hostel, and that was intense. That was super intense. So getting out there for exercise, doing that 100-pound weighted vest. You said that yours you've taken up to 48. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I remember. So it breaks into like two. So there's like a top that you can add 48 pounds, and then there's like another strap where you can add 12 on each, and then I think you can like put more in there. I remember when I put an Instagram video of me just like
Yeah,
putting
I saw
on.
it. Yeah.
That's the video. I think there's like 72 pounds on there, and I just remember like, oh, like one thing is too, it's you
Do it
can
for the
hardly
gram.
like lift it up to like
That
you almost
is
need
the
a
hard
second
part.
person.
Yes. Yes. That is the hard part. Getting it over your head when it's loaded, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so yeah, I mean I've always done it when I'm home alone. So so I pretty much like get it up over my head and like toss it.
You know what? I bought when I bought mine from Rogue, I also bought the heavy hanger for storage. And so what I did was I'm using like an extra band peg up in my top cross member that I then hang the heavy hanger with the weighted vest on. So it the bottom of the vest like probably hits about my eye level, so I just kind of like unrack it from there and then just try to like drop it right over the top of me from there. But even it's still a little clunky. Like I wouldn't want anybody to see me squirming around trying to get that thing into place. Not a good look.
Yeah, and I must have lost a lot of flexibility because it gets hard for me to like tighten them too. It's
Okay, old
but
man.
but I do like the Rogue ones. I haven't used the newest one, but I mean like the tactical 11s and then the other Rogue ones. From what I remember, they're pretty like you can get them to be pretty comfortable, so where you could run in them if you really wanted to.
The vest or
The
the rucks?
vests, the
Yeah.
vests.
Yeah. The Echo is definitely designed for running. I don't think I'll be doing any running in that thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. It is. It's nice and snug. It's that was the reason I went with it was the feedback, the reviews all said that it was super comfortable, didn't interfere with like your natural arm stride. That type of stuff was kind of important to me. I didn't want to be thinking about this new thing interrupting my typical flow when I was out there walking. So, but the other thing too, with like a weighted vest versus like what you've got, or even just using an old backpack and throwing some weights in it, is that you kind of get into this like weighted vest walled garden, right? So like I have to buy like Rogue branded plates that are compatible with my vest. And then, not only do I have two 20-pound plates that equal 40 pounds, but if I wanted to go lower, oh, great. Now I'm buying two 12.5-pound plates, and they're not cheap either. They're kind of like kettlebells,
No.
right? They're not like a weight plate. They are, over $3-4 a pound sometimes for those things. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We have anything else we want to
I don't know. Is there anything else
chat about?
on the dock? Let's see.
We have a few questions
Let's
that
dive into questions.
you want
Oh,
to.
you had some other topics to discuss, so we can dive into those two that weren't on the presentation doc. But what questions do we have?
Well, let's just choose a couple. But one question we have here is sleepers to release the product of the year. So when I say sleepers, I pretty much mean anybody but Rogue or Rep.
Sleepers. I'm gonna say Fringe. I'm gonna say Fringe Sports. Maybe I know too much. Maybe I don't. But I think that Fringe Sports is positioning themselves to release, I think, a high volume of new ideas and products to the market in 2025, that the odds are in their favor that they would release the product of the year. What say you?
I'd probably say Fringe too. I also think Bells of Steel is they're just again like similar with Fringe. I think they're both going to pump out a ton of new products, and one thing that I've noticed with Rep and also Rogue is all of their new products are like they're big products. And I think where Bells of Steel and Fringe are doing it right is they're releasing a lot of smaller things that people can add to their home gym. And I think those are doing pretty well. A lot of the like smaller things that people can, the belt squat from Fringe, like some like items like that. I think those, as people are like not looking to spend massive amounts, little things that add versatility like that can go a long way. They just have to be well thought out. I do think like for the most part, those products from companies like Fringe are being like designed by them. Like they're not just taking cookie cutter products and buying them off the shelf. They are actually using engineers and designers those types of people, and they're making some good products that are small.
Yeah.
So
Go
I'm
ahead.
with
Keep
you
going.
there. I am with you there.
Yeah. I like what you called out, that they're releasing products that are appealing to every home gym owner, right? Because they're small and they complement stuff that we already have. Like you said, similar to the Mammoth Belt Squat. Like I think, for instance, I'm super curious about the GetRx new rack with the. You're pointing at me.
So I was gonna say something about them. So
Okay.
I actually had it. I looked at Garage Gym Review's Facebook group this morning, and somebody posted that GetRx responded to a customer service email or something like that, saying that their universal arms were not going to be individually sold.
I did hear that. I did see that post. Yeah.
And then in the comments, Peter Keller said, "We may be working on something that is universal." So like I
Okay.
think that's a good example of things that are like Fringe Sport is looking into.
Yeah. So let's see. I can tie this all together, and then we've got some comments and questions I want to touch on really quick. But so because GetRx has decided not to make the tornado arms available a la carte, you're looking at going with their full rack system, right? And for somebody like me who has a rack, it's a Rogue rack. Like it would be a big change for me to say, okay, I've been wanting, a rack mounted pulley system. I'm gonna just go for it and go from Rogue into the GetRx, ecosystem, or try. So it's it's a lot more to think about to do that versus buying something that's an add-on like a Mammoth Belt Squat or whatever else Fringe or Bells of Steel has in the pipeline. I think that Fringe addressing that by saying, hey, we are going to make something similar to the Tornado arms available is a great idea, especially since they've already got the Dane. They'll make it compatible with the Dane, and now you've upgraded or improved on something that they've already got in the market while making it accessible to other people. So yeah, I think the smaller stuff that is appealing to existing home gym owners has the potential to sell more and do better and become product of the year, I guess, to bring it back to your original question. Yeah, boo, GetRx, sell us the arms. I agree. But hey, Fringe to the rescue.
So back to the Tornado pivot arms. So I think GetRx was the first one to add them to a 3x3 rack.
Okay.
At least in the U.S. But ATX, who should be coming to America most likely in 2025, I think they've had those on their racks for a couple years or a year or so. I think that's pretty standard for them. Not standard, but it's something they've had. The Force USA C10, which was released, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, that has those. So I mean, I think it's going to become pretty standard, and it's not necessarily something I would try and just like keep. I would go with the more universal approach as opposed to keeping them thinking people are only going to buy your racks because of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And like you said, they're not the first to do it. I think they've done a good job of marketing it. I'm going to touch on these questions real quick because I can quick hit them. Joey asked, what do I think about the Kensui, I think is how it's called, vest that uses Olympic weights? I considered that pretty highly. I got some DM feedback from somebody who owns it who didn't love it, and I think the other piece was that I had requested like a Rogue gift card for my birthday, so I wanted that was burning a hole in my pocket. But I know people who love the Kensui weight vest, and then I think Bill asked if I like the Echo weight vest. I do, but take that with a grain of salt because it's my first ever weight vest. So, but I do like it. It's pretty comfortable. If you do pull the trigger, they run large, so I'm a large or an extra large in pretty much anything that I would wear, but I ordered the medium weight vest and it's plenty big. They give you measurements on the site on how to determine what's best for you. And then Joey also threw out there Bulletproof Fitness as a potential sleeper for this year. I think they have potential, but a lot of their pieces are big pieces, and would kind of go against what we just talked about, right? About it being something that's smaller. I do know people are loving the VTS, although there's one for sale already on my marketplace here locally. So maybe people aren't loving. I don't know. It's the year of the Smith machine, so who knows?
I think Bulletproof would be a good one as well. I just think that, just being really practical, I think during like the COVID times, people were ready to just buy anything. And I think a lot of people have this mindset that they're going to release a product and people are going to instantly buy it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, from a conscious consumer, I mean, personally, I'm just not I'm not anxiously purchasing everything just with like the way prices are and the economy. So I think it's just a little bit, it's like a new, it's like real now. Whereas like the COVID did, it raised everything and people's interest and, so I just think like with all of these product releases, especially if they are larger, it takes more time. And I think that's probably something that Bulletproof is dealing with, because all of their main stuff is like $1,000 or more. And I think a lot of people will add that to their home gym, but it's like one of those purchases a year or 2 purchases a year. So I think it takes time for that stuff to really build up.
Yeah. Eric said Larry's been awfully quiet lately. I kind of noticed that too. He was Bulletproof and Larry, the owner, were being very active on social for a while there, and then things have gone quiet. I was wondering if that was just my algorithm, or Jake, you and I talked about this on the phone yesterday. I spend more time on TikTok nowadays than I do on consuming content on Instagram. He's also out of Los Angeles too. So I know that I think he posted it this morning, that his home has been impacted by the fires in Southern California. But the last thing I'll say too is I'm kind of at a place in my home gym journey where, and I think Jason, Man Who Parks and Gym, was talking about this on the episode that you just dropped yesterday about if it's too complex to set up, I'm not going to use it. And at least visually speaking, a lot of what Larry is bringing to market, it's offering a lot of versatility, but it's going to take some setup, and it just looks complicated to me. And I think I don't know. It's like that I know he's trying to meet a bunch of requests and needs that people have evangelized, like, hey, I want a piece that does these 10 different things. But I'm 4 or 5 years into this current home gym journey, and I'm at a place where I'm like, I'd rather just find more space and buy a machine or something than something that I'm going to have to store off to the side and then spend 5 to 6 minutes getting set up on my rack. That's just me coming from the guy who's, has to do all of that type of complex setups just to get my pulleys to work. Like, I'm over it. Like, I'm ready for a functional trainer, something that's just easy. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I do think his stuff is more directed towards those people who, they have 100 square feet, or they're, they are really space conscious.
Yeah.
I think also, if you're 10 years into this and you have plenty of space, most of his stuff isn't necessary for you.
Right.
I applaud the innovation.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, it just takes longer to figure out exactly what people need. But I will say I do see people like I think some of his products are exactly what some people are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do think there's a market for it. I am with you. I am more for like convenience. I basically, if I don't have to set it up, awesome. Like
Yeah.
I would happily spend more money and would tweak my gym to, over time to like get it in the perfect spot to where I don't have to tweak hardly anything at all. So I think that's also just like veteran home gym stuff. You just figure that out over time.
Yeah. Yeah, and you want to change things up too, like for the same reason that a barbell and some plates and a bench is no longer sufficient for us, right? Even though in the first year or two it was more than enough. But yeah, Bill says just buy a rack for each bulletproof piece. At that point, you might as well just buy machines for all of the different things, in my opinion. But I'm curious. Hopefully he comes through and shows up at Home Gym Con, because I think that for bulletproof specifically, their pieces are going to be best marketed from people who can put their hands on them, try them out, let the content creators that are going to be there kind of become the evangelist for the pieces after they've actually used them. I don't know if I would take a shot in the dark on some of the pieces that I've seen teased out from Bulletproof Fitness. Yeah, they seem complex and untested for now.
Yeah, I mean, the isolator was solid, but I never found myself like moving it up or down. I
Right.
used it for leg curls, leg extensions. It was pretty close to the performance of a leg curl, plate loaded leg curl, leg extension.
Was that yours at the first Home Gym Con that was was that your isolator that you brought and set up on that surplus strength rack?
Yeah, I think it was their last couple years.
Okay, yeah, it might have been there
Yeah,
last
yeah.
year too. But for me specifically, I jumped on it in year one. I actually set up like my tripod and like videoed myself getting on it. And I was just trying to do some bicep curls with it, or preacher curls with it. And I just couldn't figure out how to use it. And it was just one of those things where I thought, I need somebody from Bulletproof here to guide me and say, oh, here's how you adjust this, here's how you adjust this. So my 6 to 7 minutes of toying with it was irritating enough, excuse me, not being able to figure out how to move it and get adjusted to my perfect preacher curl. It's like, this is too complex. Like, anyway, just to emphasize my point, like it's better for people to see it in person and have a guide, have Larry there, have a representative there to show people, hey, here's how you use it. Oh, looks like you need to adjust this lever. Let me show you how you do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Yep. Um,
Shout out to Andy. What's up, buddy?
Andy, Eric, Bill, Brandon, Joey,
All the
Hart.
people.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for being here, fellas. Shout out to Andy. I don't know, Andy PL, I think is his YouTube. He's been doing reviews. Have you ever watched one of Andy's reviews?
No, but I see him in the Garage Gym Reviews Facebook group. That's where I see him.
Probably.
Or
I like
Discord or
his
somewhere,
reviews.
yeah.
They're super like level. Like
Okay.
he's not too excited. He's just like giving it to you straight, giving his thoughts. He does a little like unboxing, coming from something that's like a Coop video or a Gluck video, where I think that they're all still coming from the age of like the jazz fingers, right? Where like you have to like be over the top to keep people's attention spans. I like Andy's style. So like shout out to you, Andy. Hope you appreciate that. Like he does a really good job.
Did Andy do some bulletproof reviews?
Probably. I think
Okay,
so.
I think I've
Yeah.
seen some of that. But that's like one of those. That's one of those. If you saw one of my predictions podcast, where I was like, we're going to see more content creators because I think most people realize it doesn't have to be quite as like eccentric and well put together as Coop. And people do really just want to see honest takes
Yes.
before they spend thousands of dollars on certain things. So I mean, I see that with like, I've done like over the years, I've done quite a bit of reviews. They're just, they're not fancy. Most of them are just, the blogs do well. And then every once in a while I'll do something on YouTube, but it's just like what we just did with like the slides.
Yeah.
And you go through the comments and people are just like really appreciative of you going over all the details.
Yeah.
So I do think, like, I would say a lot of people can do, you know, what like Brandon does. And
One takes.
the one takes, and then there's the one takes, and then one thing that you don't really need anymore is the like to edit. You don't need any special skills, because
Right.
most of the software that you use, or you can upload it, it auto transcribes it, and then all you have to do is like erase. It's like writing a paper. And
Yeah.
it auto changes everything. We're using Riverside right now, and you know, we're live right now, so we probably don't sound as like crisp as maybe we usually do. But with Riverside, you can take out any pauses, or you can clean up the ums. It's a lot easier to do these days, and I definitely see more people who, you know, maybe they spend a couple hours a week on doing a couple reviews. They get some feedback, and they're like, oh yeah, I think I can do this. Helps pay
Yeah.
for a few of their items for the year, you know?
Yeah, the barrier to entry is much lower. And I think there's also like the Sam Sulek effect, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not just him. He has kind of like been a part of this new ushering in of content where we are either knowingly or unknowingly, we've all gotten a little bit burned out on overhyped short form content, and we want something that's a little less produced. And you're seeing that right now. And I really like what Andy said about, he's like, I'm the lo-fi hip hop beats gym equipment reviews, which I think is perfect because he is just that. Yeah, I think we're seeing more of that. I think like Jungle Gym Reviews is another guy I've seen kind of pop up
Yeah.
and do a really good job. I don't know if I would call him like a lo-fi hip hop beats version of that. But just also one last thing too, Bill, I see your question. Any chance we'd move these to later in the week? Maybe. I think we addressed this at the beginning of the podcast that or at the beginning of the live show here, we're gonna give Tuesday mornings a season, and we're open to adjusting it, but we're gonna see how this goes. You can always listen to it afterward. Like they will post to YouTube and other platforms maybe as like just a podcast you can listen to later if you're not
That's
here for
something
the
I
live
wanted.
show.
That is up in the air.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't know. Let's try YouTube first. Like see how it goes. I mean, that'll make it easier. That'll give people like a focalized point. Like if you missed the live show, you can always circle back to the Garage Gym Radio YouTube channel and find the recorded version of the live show to watch later. If you can't make it live.
Yeah. So we're gonna give Tuesday mornings a go, just because we're like, you know, we're grown men, and kind of finding the right time is
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
That's kind of been, that's been the holdout. Like I've wanted to go live with Adam, but like with our schedules, you know, you can't do it like, all right, this week it's going to be 7:30 on Wednesday, and the next week it's going to be Saturday afternoon. You know, like that, because that's the types of times that we record. So
Yeah.
finding Mike, and we're on like opposite coasts, so hopefully this 9:30. So I do this full time, and Mike has like a window before like the day starts, so he's sacrificing a little bit. So you know, we're trying to make it you know, regular.
Yeah, and we'll probably look to try and keep it to a pretty tight hour. I don't know, you know, for me at least, how often I'll be able to float over. Today's the first one, and I don't have anything booked up against the time, so we're at like 90-ish minutes now, hour and 20 minutes. But yeah, it's a work in progress. We're gonna figure it out. I think that is another reason to emphasize our appreciation for those of you guys who are here on our first live show as we fail forward, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll build up the marketing for this over time, but Mike was even asking me like, "Hey, how are we going to promote this?" And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, let's just like
I don't want to promote the first one. So
let's just like there's going to be some kinks and,
Yeah.
and for anybody who was there at the beginning, there definitely was. We couldn't even get it connected. So yeah, we'll build this out over time. I'm glad we have 22 watching right now, so that's kind of cool. And then I'm guessing we'll I don't know. Do we even clean this up and post it, or we just leave this live? I think we
leave it live.
Yeah, I think we just leave it
I
live.
think we leave it live. That makes it more sustainable for each of us, so that we don't
Yes.
have to go back in and even running like the AI features in Riverside still takes a little bit of babysitting and making sure it does what you're hoping it will do. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's still time consuming. Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Cool. Well, let's just double check these comments. I think we're good. I think we're good. We can kind of close it. Say see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, see you guys next Tuesday. Hope you guys return. Let's see. Yeah, thanks for the comments, everybody. If we missed a question or a comment, we see them. We're just up against time. We're gonna wrap this up. So
Yeah, and I guess one thing that we should do is if you leave a comment, if you listen later, if it's a good enough comment, or maybe we
reply in the
we can
comments?
reply next week.
Yeah.
We'll try and bring them up next
Oh,
week
yeah,
and
that's
go
good.
over some things.
That'll work too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if anybody else, if anybody wants to hop on with us, we'll figure that out too.
We'll embrace
If
the
we need-
chaos of that. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, let me hit stop.
Cool. See you guys.
Thanks, everyone.